Hi everyone, it's Dina from simplyhomecooked.com, and today we are making an easy Napoleon cake. Layers of buttery puff pastry filled between a rich vanilla custard. This easy dessert has been a family favorite for many years, and I hope it becomes a favorite for you as well. Let's get started by adding 4 egg yolks into a large mixing bowl, then add 1 cup of granulated sugar. Now whisk that all together until it's nice and smooth. Then go ahead and add 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, give it a thorough mix, then add another 2 tablespoons of flour and stir it again. Next, we'll be adding half a cup of whole milk. You'll want to do this in 3 separate pours with mixing in between. Adding all the milk at once can cause it to clump up, so we want to avoid that. Now in a saucepan, add 3 cups of whole milk, bring the heat to medium-high and let it come to a simmer. Take the hot milk off the burner and gradually pour it into the egg mixture. You'll want to make sure to whisk constantly so the eggs don't scramble from the heat. Now pour the custard back into the saucepan and stir it over low heat. You'll want to keep mixing until the custard has thickened. This can take up to 15 minutes, so be patient. Once your custard is nice and thick, cover it with plastic wrap. You'll want the plastic wrap to be touching the custard in order to avoid any skin from forming. Now set it aside and let it cool down to room temperature. While that cools, let's bake the puff pastry sheets. On a lightly floured surface, unwrap the thawed puff pastry sheets and roll them out to a 12 by 16 inch rectangle. Now transfer the puff pastry sheet onto a baking sheet and generously poke it with a fork. Then bake at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 20 to 25 minutes or until it's golden brown. Now repeat this step with 5 more puff pastry sheets, then set them aside to cool. Now let's get back to that custard. Remove the plastic wrap and transfer the cooled custard into a large mixing bowl. Next, you'll want to add 8 tablespoons of softened, unsalted butter, but don't add it all at once. Add about 2 tablespoons at a time with mixing in between. This will ensure that your butter doesn't separate. Now add half a teaspoon of vanilla extract and 4 ounces of thawed Cool Whip. Give it a good mix and your custard is done. Now, before we start assembling the cake, take one of your puff pastry sheets and crumble it into fine crumbs. I always go for the ugliest one, obviously. We'll be using this crumbled sheet to decorate the outside of the cake, so once that's crumbled, just set it aside. If you're a perfectionist like me and you want all the edges to be smooth, I like to trim a tiny bit of the edges off with a knife, but that's totally optional. Okay, now let's get this cake together. Begin layering each puff pastry sheet with a generous layer of the vanilla custard. Once you've got all 5 sheets assembled, cover the top and sides of the cake with the remaining custard. Now you can coat the entire cake with the puff pastry sheet that we crumbled earlier. Let the Napoleon cake sit for a few hours before serving. The Napoleon cake has been sitting for a few hours, so it had plenty of time for the puff pastry to really absorb all that delicious custard. So if you guys make this cake, do not eat it right away. It's gonna be too dry, it's not gonna taste nearly as delicious, so just give it a few hours. You really want all that pastry cream to absorb through all the layers of the cake. I'm telling you, it's well worth the wait. All right, enough talk, let's go for the taste test. Okay, it's gonna be a bit of a struggle. Come on. That is so delicious. This cake takes me back to my childhood when my aunt would make this on Sundays. It's not our traditional Napoleon since the cake layers are not made from scratch, but it's faster, it's easier, and it tastes just as delicious. So if you guys give this cake a try, tag me on Instagram. I love seeing your creations. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you guys never miss out on any of our new recipes. See you next time.